Hi everyone, I am Nu-Trix of Synth Guy. Today we're talking about the firmware update 2.5 of the Novation Base Station 2. There's always something really nice from companies where they actually support their gear and products for a long run. And the Base Station 2 is not a new product, but they've kept having updates for that. And Novation is one of these companies who actually give us more as we go along with them because they keep adding features to their hardware synth. I have a circuit, and the circuit had different updates to a point that now it's totally, a lot more powerful than the original version that came out. And the same thing goes for the Base Station 2 with the version 2.5. Historically, the Base Station 1 came out in the 90s or something, and they were basically trying to recreate the sound of the FE3D. It's not exactly the same sound, of course, but it's a cool bass sound. And today, for the price, it's one of the powerful synthesizer that is an affordable one, which is a normal size synthesizer. I mean, normal size keys. Of course, it's a small keyboard, but all the features you have, it sounds really cool. The options they made are really fun, and it makes it for a very powerful synthesizer. Now, they added new features with the version 2.5. I'll do two videos about it. The first one will be how to actually update the firmware. I'm just going to show you that. And the second one will be I'll go through all the different new features. And rapidly, they have Paraphonic Mode. If you don't know what Paraphonic Mode is, actually there's a link over there to a video I made on explaining what a paraphonic synthesizer is. And it was part of their circuit mono station, which is a base station in a circuit box. And that one was paraphonic. So after they came out with that, a lot of people say, well, do the same thing for this one. So how Paraphonic Mode can be cool for that, I'll talk about that later on. There's a filter tracking. There's envelope retriggering. Also becomes some type of a little LFO shape, or it could also be seen as some type of little sequence if you want. Oscillator Error, so you can create that instability that you have in older synthesizers. Micro-tuning, if that's what you need. You can also have on the screen a customized text appear. Now, because this is the second video, we'll talk about all these different features. So let's actually dive in and look how they work. Okay. First feature, Paraphonic Mode. Paraphonic Mode is the fact that these two oscillators that you have here, 1 and 2, can be played separately off the keyboard, which is really interesting because normally it's in a monophonic mode, so you only hear one, which is normal for a monophonic synth. They haven't changed the structure itself, meaning that these two oscillators still go to the mixer and goes into one filter. So they're still going to be affected by one single filter. But what's different now is that the two oscillators can be triggered separately for the notes. So now to turn that on, you press on Function and press on Oscillator 1, 2 Sync twice. And it gives you the option of P for paraphonic. 0 is off, 1 is on, and you go OK. And it keeps that. No, it doesn't keep it. I have to go save it. Twice, yes, and save. Okay. All right. It's not working. It's not working. It is not working. You need to bring the volume of the other one. It's a bit late. Now I've got maybe different function here that makes it sounds weird. Okay, you have this here. So let's do it again. So when you want to hear it, first of all you need to turn it on. You press on Function, press twice on Oscillator 1, 2 Sync, and then you have P for paraphonic. 0 is off. You choose 1. And it's going to be turned on. Press Function again, and it's gone. And then if you press a key, you hear the one. Then you hear the second key. But if you hear the movement of the filter, it affects the two of them. So they're not separate. They're still going to be going through the same filter. Okay, so they're not separate sounds, they're just separate notes in the same sound, so which is really what the paraphonic mode is about. So it's pretty fun. So this is cool. That's it, paraphonic mode. Second feature called filter tracking. The tracking means that the cutoff point of the frequency for the filter actually is following the keys you're playing. So you're tracking the keyboard going up or down. So if you go on function and you press the first one, filter frequency, twice, on screen you've got an F, which is a tracking. 0 means it's going to track all the keys normally. So if I play these, you hear the filter opening up. It's clearer in the high end. When you go high end, it's duller in the low end. Then you have 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 7. And in 7, you see it doesn't open up as much. So at 0, it's a full tracking, and 7, it's no tracking. It stays the same value everywhere. So tracking or no tracking, and you've got 7 options between full tracking at 0 and neutral, so no tracking at 7. That's it. Third feature, the option of having a retrigger for the envelope. So you go into function and you're looking for the mud envelope function, twice mud envelope. You got R for retriggering, turn it on. 1 is on, 0 is off, so turn it on. And then when you play a key, it's going to retrigger the envelope. It's going to be attack, decay, sustain, attack, decay, sustain, and it's going to loop these. So you hit, and it triggers this. So let's try this for the envelope, for the filter. So I'm just changing the decay speed and change the sustain. You change the attack. So we do fast attack and long decay. So that's it. You have kind of a weird shaped LFO if you want. You can use this, and again, this can be used for the amp or for the modulation envelope, and this, because the modulation envelope, then it can be assigned even to something like the pulse width modulation. So it's pretty fun. Next feature, Oscillator Error. Now this is for creating that kind of a normal old school sound of analog synthesizer where one oscillator would drift and create some type of error. But it's not an error in the fact that it sounds bad. It's an error because it's not exactly in tune. But it's also something you have when you have, let's say, 25 violin playing at the same time. They don't play exactly the same way. So it creates that warm, lush sound. And that's what you can do with this now. You can have the second oscillator detuned from the first one. And always a kind of a little chaotic way, but it can go from very subtle to very, very, very obvious. Let's just play a little sequence here. Okay, you have this playing. I'm going to go into function. There's going to be oscillator, pitch bend range, twice. You get E, it's for 0. And every time you change, you see there's more, like 4 starts to be very obvious. So 7 is the hardest, you know, have something closer to 2 to just give warm sound, or 1. Because when you get to 0, it's always the same. So 1 gives just a little bit more of that chorus sound. 2 also. It's not simply detuning. Next feature of a micro tuning. By default, it is set up so it works in chromatic ways. So you've got 12 semitone for the 12 notes. Now if you want to change that, you go into function and then you go tuning. Tune here, you press it twice. You get T on top here. 0 is the normal tuning. 1, it changes. And actually, let's go higher. Hear the tuning. And that's it. Now, if just for another example for this, let's use a sequence. Actually, let's go something like that. Okay, so we've got this. Let's change the tuning. Original one. That's it, micro tuning. And the last feature is to have a welcome screen with the text that you want on it. So this one is actually simple to do. You go and you connect via USB your base station to your computer, and you open components from Novation. And when you're connected to your device, so the base station 2 here connected, you get my base station custom message. That's where you click. Click on this one and then you can actually type in what you want. I'm going to type Nu-Trix. Okay, interesting. And it's going to be high Nu-Trix. Send to base station 2. So now, if I turn it off, and I turn it on, let's watch here what you see. Hi, Nu-Trix. Yes, sir. Me likey. Cool. That's it. So you can just type in whatever you want, and when you turn it on, you know it's yours, not somebody else's. So that's it. That's all the new features of firmware 2.5 of the base station 2, and honestly, it's cool, especially the paraphonic mode. And I've got a couple of ideas on how to use it. And because there's no sequencer per se in this one, well, you can do with an external sequencer like this one. So I'll try something else and I'll do another video about how to use this with a sequencer, 2 sequences triggering the same synth. Subscribe and follow with the little alarm clock so you know when there's a new video coming out. That's it, guys. Cheers.